All right, joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, he is the host of the Holton Ahlers Show, former Pirate QB, current Arlington Renegades quarterback. He is Holton Ahlers. Holt, how you doing, man?
Living the dream, Clip. Living the dream.
Loving the Renegades
Thanks.
swag there. Looking good, looking good. Holton, fresh off his first ECU basketball game last night in Minges for the year.
Minges, yeah. Well, I went to the first one, but we got there. I think we shot a podcast, and we got there in the game. We were up like 30 because we were playing like who knows. So I didn't really get to see the starters. And then I've watched them on TV, but haven't been able to go in person. And me and the fiance Grace last night decided we would go, and I enjoyed it, dude. CJ Walker is very fun to watch. I was very impressed with him.
So George Mason is 20-5, I believe. I would say I still think last night's win might have been better than that because UAB was 8-2 in conference play.
Yeah.
Been playing well, and to win that, to come back to win that game was great. And as you said, CJ Walker has been on an absolute tear lately. In fact, somebody put his point totals in my Twitter mentions. I'll see if I can follow him. 33, 23, 28, 29 in his last 4 games.
In Clip, I watched a lot of basketball, but I was impressed that we were scheming to get him the ball and just clear everyone else out. I think that's the way you need to play when you have a guy like that. And then I think RJ Felton had 20-something, 23 last night too. So if you have guys like that, I was just telling you, every single year I go into the tournament, I'm like, all right, we got to win the conference tournament. But seriously though, if you peak at the right time and you have guys like that who could put up 30 points, if you have 2 of those guys, that's a dangerous team.
It's not out of the realm of possibility because we beat the second best team in the league last night. You go to Memphis, and that is a 1-possession game with a minute or 2 left. So for that reason, you can have belief. The problem is, you get down by 23 points to Rice. You're not going to be a consistently good team, but any given night, any given 40 minutes, the Pirates could make it happen. And you're right, man, to have CJ and RJ putting up big point totals, that does get me excited. And Holton with transfers and everything, maybe it takes a while. Even CJ, I saw put something on Twitter after he made the game winner Saturday night at UTSA that he really tried to press early on. This is his last year.
Yep. Tried
to make it happen kind of too quick, and then took a step back, said, hey, I'm going to let it come to me, and now he's just putting up monster games.
I mean, yeah, I was kind of joking about it, but I'm serious. Going into I know the conference tournament's a little bit further away, but going into it with 2 guys who could score 30 points in a game and possibly in the same game, that is a very dangerous team. And especially, like I said, with them scheming up plays to get those guys the ball and just clear everyone else out. You haven't seen that in a while. Maybe since Jaden Garner we did a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think Jaden Garner was a little bit different because he played within the offense and the offense kind of was him, and he got a lot of rebounds from himself and stuff. Whereas last night, they were literally clearing out the paint and just letting CJ Walker go to work, which was really fun to watch.
Pirates are on the road for 2 at Charlotte, at Tulane, and then it's kind of a weird scheduling quirk, especially at this point in the season. 3 straight home games. They got UTSA at home on the 23rd, Charlotte at home on March 2nd, Tulane March 6th. So they'll see a lot of Charlotte and Tulane here these next few games. Charlotte really struggling this year. Tulane pretty good. I love their coach, Ron Hunter.
Yeah, man, I'm glad I went to the game last night because I'm just so much into the NBA and I've wanted to get into college basketball. And I love going to ECU basketball games and watching them for a while, my whole life literally. I've just been so busy this year, so glad I got to go to one, especially before I leave.
Yeah, and it was a big night last night in college basketball as far as ranked teams, and another one on tap for tonight. So now's the time. Super Bowl's over, Holton.
Yeah.
Now's the time to kind of dive into it. Coming up tonight, NC State hosting Louisville. I'm still curious as to how long a coach gets as a grace period after you take your team to the Final Four, because
he was about to get fired last year, and now he's
he was done if they didn't make that run.
Yeah.
So, but now you got to give him another year, right? You can't fire a guy that just went to a Final Four.
I don't know.
Holton says you can.
I mean, he hasn't won other than 1 month of his career.
He's had 1 good month. Yeah, and Hubert Davis for North Carolina.
I think he's gone. He's got to be.
That was rough the other night.
Yeah.
Against Clemson. But yeah, enjoying following the college basketball now. NBA, I'm still out of it because the Hornets stink. Apparently, they're trying to what are they going to do? Sue the league or something for not letting the Mark Williams trade go through? But any other than Luka Holton, anything surprise you or like stand out from the trade deadline?
No, I mean Jimmy Butler going to the
Yeah,
Warriors. That's just a
is
little
that a
weird.
big deal or?
I think it's a big deal because like that's not the typical player Steph Curry usually plays with. Like Draymond and Jimmy Butler are kind of like the same, like not same player, but like same like style player, like defense, rebounding. Obviously Jimmy Butler's another level of that, but it'll just be a different Warriors than you're used to seeing of just jacking up threes.
Somebody said the Draymond Butler fight at practice is going to be epic. I think it's going to be more like Butler just leaves,
Yeah,
and
just
goes
quits.
AWOL, and
Yeah.
and Draymond's trying to fight somebody. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. So, what about the Knicks? I know they got a player returning from injury, right? that
Yeah,
you're
Mr.
excited
Robinson's coming back.
Yeah.
I think beginning of March. So I think he's kind of like the final piece. And then we'll probably sign TJ Warren, which he was actually very, very good. He averaged like 19 and a half for the Suns in 2020.
He went nuts in the bubble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to sign him to the G League here, I think March 2nd too. So we got a couple pieces come back. I'm ready. When I go play in the UFLs, like the timing where like March Madness gets heated up, the NBA gets heated up. So like basketball is perfect then. I get to play a little football too, so like it's a perfect time for me.
Yeah, and those folks around there need a hero Holton now that Luka's gone, and it could be you.
Arlington needs it.
What did you think about the fans getting kicked out for the, fire Nico,
I
fire
think
the
it's soft.
GM?
I think it's soft.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, if you have the money and all the toys, you do rule the world and make the rules. I don't want that in my arena, but also, a little soft. Yeah, they used to hide it with Washington games by saying you cannot bring in signs or of any
Yeah,
kind.
just say that.
And look, even if you want to say Dan Snyder's the greatest man on
Yeah.
earth, well, sorry, we won't allow that either. Nobody's going to bring that sign.
I will say though, as an NBA fan, the fit of Anthony Davis, now that he's hurt, it sucks, but they might have gotten like they're going to be harder to beat in the playoffs with Anthony Davis and that team than they were with Luka because Luka didn't play any defense, and that's pretty much why they traded him. Whereas now they have a super long team, which is they're kind of like the Timberwolves of last year. So like the matchup wise, they're going to be harder to beat when Anthony Davis is better. I know that, like, especially defensively and offensively, they're going to be worse, but they're not going to be that much worse because Anthony Davis is still good offensively.
How about Luka with LeBron and the Lakers? Is that does that move the needle for them?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a win-win. I mean, like this year was a win-win. Now, like long term, the Mavs, I mean, obviously screwed themselves.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to beat the Lakers. They got the two probably clutchest player in the league, and then I mean, LeBron's been through a lot, and he's going to teach Luka, and they still got some other pieces, but. I mean, they're going to be hard to beat. I don't know if they'll be unstoppable. I think the Mavs would be harder to beat than the Lakers will be.
Interesting. Yeah. Holton Ahlers joining us. Holton will recap the Super Bowl a little bit. Not much to talk about with the game. I am curious, like, when four guys are getting pressure and the Eagles are not having to blitz, like, you've had those games where you've ran for your life at times. But, like, can you adjust at that point? Or I was thinking about it. If you add a tight end and a running back to help block, at that point you're playing like 7-on-3.
Yeah.
Like, is it just, hey, credit to the Eagles, or should Kansas City have done something different in your opinion?
I think they could adjust it a little bit better and brought in some guys for some pass pro or like got Mahomes on the move and stuff. They just kept dropping back and just because it was like, okay, they're not blitzing, we'll eventually block them, and they weren't blocking them.
Yeah.
And I think Mahomes, like, the second half, he started like going into pressure, which is any quarterback. Like once you start getting pressure every single time, you feel it more than you usually would. But does it surprise me? No. I mean, I said I thought the Eagles were going to win, but I thought Saquon was going to have a really good game. He had a decent game. But, I mean, the Eagles' defense was, I mean, best in the league pretty much all year. And, I mean, played really, really well. So, it didn't surprise me at all. It just surprised me the outcome of how it happened, I guess.
And the Chiefs going into it, were like, can they stop Saquon Barkley? And it was almost like it was their only focus or something because they did a good job on it.
Yeah, that was the only thing they did.
But Jalen Hurts 8, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, all those guys.
Yep.
Very, very impressive performance. That hit where Mahomes fumbled looked like a freaking 1970s NFL films. Like, them boys were hitting, dude.
Yeah.
As a quarterback, you probably didn't like it, but I thought it was great.
No, I was. I think the GOAT conversation's done with for now, at least. Mahomes has to go win 3 in a row at some point to get it back. Because I mean, you can't go in the Super Bowl and play that bad. And I know I'm not saying he played bad, but just like the performance in general, it just wasn't like if you want to be the best of all time. I mean, Brady was down 28 to whatever he was down.
28-3.
Yeah, and came back and like. I thought that would have been sweet if Mahomes did. Like, I like Mahomes a lot. Like, I literally tweeted, like, when he was in the draft going to college, I was like, Mahomes is the next Brett Favre. I wish I could find that tweet. And I still think he's amazing. But, like, the team as a general, like, going for a three-peat and then falling, that bad was just a, bad look.
Holton Ahlers joining us today on Pirate Radio Live as ECU baseball getting underway. You're going to head out to Clark LeClaire before you get out of town?
Yeah.
When are you leaving town?
I leave next Saturday.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Until the end of the season?
June, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a quarterback camp. Like, there's a quarterback camp before the actual camp that they fly all the quarterbacks up and train and all that. So we're going to do that. And then, camp starts the 27th. So pretty pumped.
Awesome. So Holton Ahlers show, you'll still do a couple of months, right? Or
2 a month during that season, and then we'll do 4 a month when we get back for football season. Obviously, we're going to ramp up. We got Caden Hauser this week. We have the new defense coordinator next week. And then we have some exciting news. Caden is going to do a sub show. He's always been asking for the Caden Norman show. So once a week for like 5 minutes on social media, he's going to have a little Caden Norman show.
The Caden Norman show. Who knows where the hell that thing's going to go?
Exactly. Yeah, that'll be fun.
He's an interesting fellow.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff, Holt. We'll check in with you live here in this room one more time before you head out.
Yeah.
Cool. And we'll obviously keep in touch with you, and you can fax over your NCAA bracket to us as well, so you can get into the challenge. All right, Holt, enjoyed it, man.
Yes, sir. Thanks.